Thank you for joining me here today, and this will be another journal update audio. About my week. And I think I remember mentioning last week or my last audio that I was having some trouble, or I find myself less present than other weeks previously, and this week has been quite challenging for me, but I feel as if I was almost present enough, meaning I've let go of an expectation. So each day I was doing what I could in my power to be as present as possible, and I feel as if this journey is almost like a flower blossoming. We can certainly take actions to nurture ourselves, give ourselves sunlight and water, but I feel ultimately this awakening will happen when the universe wants it to happen. So I feel like it's quite easy to let go of expectations or views or judgments, to think how present you were on a certain day or week. At the moment, I am in a place where I'm searching for work, and that has continued. I mentioned in my story so far audio that I have been away from work for some time, and the previous jobs I had worked, I left fairly shortly. So this is becoming a challenge for me right now in regards to getting work, because each job there is much competition, and for someone who hasn't worked in a while or hasn't worked long term for a company in a while, that can be seen as a negative thing from the point of view of the recruiter. So the good news is I have an interview next week, Monday, so I'm not quite sure when this will go up. I am recording this on the Monday 23rd of July, so in a week's time I'll have my job interview, and I have been doing my best to manage my emotions and the pressure for this job. The pressure coming from the many applications I have sent and the many rejections I have received. And now I finally have an interview to go to. So a lot of my energy is being spent on remaining in awareness, especially when thoughts arise about me having to get this job and thoughts of I must get this job, this is my chance. And also other pressures of my mother's health is declining, her physical health, and so she is very worried about bills and so forth. So that pressure is being put on me to get to work as well. So a lot of my energy is being spent in managing those times when many thoughts arise. And they happened this morning as well. I was looking at ways I could prepare for this interview, and immediately thoughts arose of how this interview may be very difficult, or thoughts that I may be too nervous, too stressed, that I won't perform well in the interview. And the mind wanted to answer all of these thoughts, to work out a solution to all of these thoughts. But I simply moved my awareness to preparation. What can I do in this moment to prepare for this interview? And as simple as that sounds, the movement from being in the mind to awareness is a significant one. So I loaded up a few internet pages of various things, such as brushing up on my maths, brushing up on Excel, things in that nature. So I've done a few simple things today that I can continue tomorrow. And again, I am letting go of tomorrow, because the mind, one of my mind's favourite things is to project in the future, to see how tomorrow will go, and it will paint a picture for me already. So I have to remain aware of those thoughts when they come in and not let them pull me along. I can simply stay here in awareness and watch the thought rise and fall away. So that is my main focus at this moment, to get a job to help with my home situation. the same time, I'm doing my best to live in the now. And I do have this thought, which for me is providing a useful pointer to be in the now, that whatever is going to happen will happen. However the hours, days, weeks will unfold, or I should say this one moment unfolds, is how it will unfold. And my main purpose is to simply rest in being. Actions will happen. Perhaps tomorrow action will happen where I will prepare for this interview, but this will simply be seen in awareness. Mooji uses a metaphor of two birds sitting in a tree. The first bird is busy building a nest, and this symbolizes us building our lives or doing our daily duties of life. And the other bird sits in a higher branch and simply watches the first bird building the nest. That's all it does. It watches and observes. And this is what we do. There is a place inside of us that simply observes what is happening. Even as we do actions, interact with other people, drive our cars, make breakfast, everything is seen in a place of stillness, and everything else is clouds passing by. And so the thought that the universe is simply unfolding, what will happen, there's a freeing in that for me personally. And it allows me to almost fall into presence. And I use the word fall because when we mentally want something to happen, there is a tension there. Our mind is tense, maybe our body is tense, our attention is strained on wanting something to happen. But with not only the understanding, but the knowing or the experiencing that the universe is unfolding. In this moment, it is unfolding with each word I say, each sentence I form, and I am simply observing this happen. There is a freeing in that. And I'm sure with your practice there will be certain pointers that come to you, or pointers that you may come across yourself that may help you more than other pointers. just a quick update on my younger brother, who is just started his summer holidays, so he's happy, having 6 weeks away from school. My father mentioned to me that he's a little bit behind on his maths and English and has asked me to help over the summer as well. And I was immediately aware of the stress that came with the thought of having to help. And this is simply just a thought. And so once I became aware of this thought, the stress went away. And this is not to say that when I do go to my father's house and sit down with my younger brother and help him, there may be challenges in that moment there. Maybe there won't be, but the idea of being stressed now over something in the future, that is a delusion. That is simply the mind projecting. And the mind may be right, it may be wrong, but the only moment is now. As of now, I'm sitting here in a chair and I'm simply sharing my week, talking into this microphone. And I am simply being aware of my awareness, which sounds funny to say. That is another pointer, to be aware of your awareness, to know that right now you are aware. Because something even watches awareness. Because when your awareness strays to something else, or when your awareness moves into thinking, there is something there that watches even that. The eye, the inner eye, watches even your attention. So, thank you for joining me here today for this update. And as always, I wish you well in the now, in this moment. And I will speak to you again very soon.